my man.
Take it away.
Hey, I'm super happy to be here in Kraków and trying to moderate this discussion about electromobility. And for you who didn't see my keynote, my predictions and our predictions from the company I represent is that this e-mobility transformation is going to happen very, very fast. And you know that the industry is going to transform, specifically the transportation industry is going to transform very, very fast in the next 5 years, and that this will drive a wave of also new customer demands, and that there could be 2025 a need for a large amount of batteries, and potentially that like Audi says, even a third of all cars in Europe, car sales could be electrified. But we're going to have an interesting panel here that is going to also have opinions about this and see if they think I'm totally stupid. And we will start with Piotr Zaremba from Electromobility Poland. Give him a hand. Hi Piotr, welcome. Have a sit. I think you're supposed to have this, Piotr.
This one?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Then I have Anders Berger from Volvo Group. I guess the world's largest truck and bus maker, right? Anders?
Thank you, Peter.
And we're going to have Erez Lorber from StoreDot, a technology company in the lithium battery sector. So guys, thank you for coming. I think I will start this with asking you just to introduce yourself and the company that you are representing.
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me to this very interesting discussion. I'm representing Electromobility Poland, company which is responsible for electromobility development in our country. So we have soft activities like education, promotion of electromobility. But our main task is to integrate capacity we have in Poland. I mean engineers, institutes, universities, polytechnics, to get this capacity together and to build and then produce electric vehicle in Poland. So we believe it's 5 minutes for newcomers, and we would like to make use of this 5 minutes.
That's really cool. So when will you launch your first vehicle?
Oh, I think it will be in several years. We would like to have it in 2022, 23.
Okay, very good. We're going to talk more about that.
Okay.
Anders?
Yes, great pleasure to be here at the Impact'18. My name is Erez Lorber. I represent the Volvo Group. I work at the headquarters with public affairs. And I would have liked to speak about cars too, but as you know, we are two separate companies. Volvo Group is buses, trucks, construction equipment, marine and industrial engines, while Volvo Cars, the Geely-owned Volvo Cars, is passenger cars. So we'll have to talk to them later or another time.
Thank you, Anders. And you just recently showed some new products in the electromobility side. You want to say something about that?
You've been able to buy Volvo electrified Volvo buses since 2010. We've sold over 5,000 now with different levels of electrification. A couple of weeks ago, we launched our 2 medium-heavy trucks, one for distribution purposes, city distribution, and one for refuse collection, fully electric. 27-ton vehicle for refuse and distribution collection, and an 18-ton as well. So it's happening, and it's happening now.
Absolutely. And Erez, you want to talk a little bit what StoreDot is doing?
Yes, okay, so thank you. Pleasure to be here. StoreDot is all about developing batteries that could charge very fast, meaning overall charging time of 5 minutes from 0 to 100%, which we believe will make the user experience of charging an electric vehicle same as the user experience of fueling a car today. The world was focused more on energy density and cost, rightfully so, to create enough range and to make it accessible to all users, but we believe the charging time is still way too long. So we're focused on very unique technology, disruptive technology. It's lithium-ion batteries, but the chemistry is very different, and we operate in a nanotechnology scale, so very tiny particles, very different processes. And we're based in Israel, and I'll tell you more about it later.
So you definitely represent batteries, and obviously I do too. But you know, there's been quite the discussion whether transportation will be transforming from combustion engines into more fuel cell type of vehicles, or whether we will go into electrification with batteries. How do you see the trends happening? You know, we have Toyota, for example, driving very hard on the hydrogen. We have, you know, US and Tesla driving very hard on batteries. Where do you see the trend going? Start with Piotr.
Yeah, I think for sure momentum for electromobility is coming, and there is no question if electric cars will play a significant role at the market. There is only a question when it would happen. I think the main driver for this will be total cost of ownership. We very often think only about this upfront cost of possessing car, but if we take into account all costs, running costs like maintenance, spare parts, fuel, I believe in several years electric vehicles will be simply cheaper than traditional combustion engines vehicles, and that will be the moment from which this market will go up.
So I read that as you betting on batteries.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anders?
Yeah, if I should comment on the fuel cell parallel development. As of now, as of today at least, it's very difficult from a TCO point of view to see the business case in fuel cell vehicles. We believe that hydrogen and fuel cells will play an important role in the overall energy system, but as of today we see it difficult, particularly with respect to the very fast development of energy density and cost per kilowatt hours in the battery development. So I think that fuel cells are not, you know, they're competing with the lithium-ion development space, and today it's questionable whether it will play in the automotive sector. I think rail, inland waterway, other parts in the energy system for microgrids, etc., reinforcement of the grid. There are plenty of places where hydrogen and fuel cells can play a role, but I wouldn't bet on automotive being the lead application for the hydrogen society.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And Erez, do I need to ask you, or I mean, it seems
No,
like a given answer.
God forbid if fuel cell takes over, right? I mean, we're in the battery business. We obviously believe that it's going to be a battery, maybe new technologies later on, different than what we're doing today. But definitely battery, but also if you look at a different angle, also on charging infrastructure, I believe that there will be a mix as well. Some, you know, sort of traditional already chargers, fast chargers, but also induction and other ways of charging. So the same, I think, as battery technology, fuel cells, there'll be plenty of room for many players, but I believe that pure battery-operated vehicles will really dominate.
And Erez, I mean, your company is focusing on developing really fast charging, high C-value batteries, and if you're successful, you know, it means that we can recharge our vehicles super fast, but it also has an implication on the grid,
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
I mean, if we should charge a 100 kilowatt hour vehicle in five minutes, what does that mean for the grid, and what's your view and your company's view on that?
So yes, definitely the charging infrastructure should evolve as well. Our belief is that once you have enabling technology, which is what we're focused on cell level, and once this cell technology is capable of receiving very high currents and without bursting into flames, exploding, whatever, then we believe that once you have that, everything else around it will evolve because of the necessity to charge fast. So yes, there are challenges. There are challenges with the harmonies of the grid. There are challenges in how you bring that amount of current from chargers to a car. Maybe the larger battery packs, initially like a 100 kilowatt hour Tesla or any other car, would charge only in 12 minutes, but it will be already much faster than what is available today. We think that this puzzle of having everything in place will evolve over time, but I could say quite confident that within the next 5, 6, 10 years, we believe it will be in place.
Yeah. And Anders, I mean, Tesla launched its semi fully electric with an enormous battery. It's somewhere between 900 to 1200 kilowatt hours that needs charging. And you know, obviously Volvo Group must be thinking about how to solve this.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, for us, the future is electric, I think, or over most of our product lines. But I mean, and Tesla is great. They are pushing us, and they are making the industry to rethink their old premises, and I think that's a great play by Tesla. But you know, in a trucking business, we have driving and resting time rules. So we don't need 800-900 kilowatt hours of energy. We need enough to take us 4 hours of driving, because then we have 45 minutes of break. So we don't need 12-minute or 5-minute charging. We need to put in roughly 300 to 400 kilowatt hours during an hour, you could say. And that's within reach already today. I mean, fast charging up to 300-400 kilowatt is actually in reach today without no problem. And so we don't see the need for these mega chargers and enormous batteries. We can, in Europe at least, manage quite well with not half, 400 or 500 kilowatt hour.
Yeah. And just, I mean, Sweden and Germany has been talking about electrifying the highways.
Yes.
What's your thought about that?
I mean, there is no silver bullet solution to the electrification of the transport system. That's very important to remember that. And electric highways, or electric road systems, I would call them, could play a role. But I think that society needs really to invest into the rationale and the societal cost, because that's an expensive infrastructure that we need to build for dynamic charging while driving, and we need a high utilization of that infrastructure.
Yeah.
So I think that's the critical point. It's not a technical issue. It's a societal issue. Do we want to invest, and can we get the asset utilization of that new infrastructure? So for certain stretches, for corridors where we know we have steady flows, we can more or less dedicate trucks. We can do a lot of good local impact, for instance, around harbors in Europe where we have heavy pollution from heavy trucks, etc. There we could find, I think, cases where electric road. But I don't see it as an all-pervasive infrastructure across Europe.
Yeah.
It's much similar to the rail network. That is taking it too far. I still think that battery electric trucks combined with fast charging, a grid of fast charging stations on truck stops could take us quite far.
And Piotr, you know, representing Poland, Poland has a little bit of an even bigger challenge in the you know, in the sense that the energy distribution grid is and heating has not been primarily driven by electricity. So the electricity distribution grid in Poland is reasonably weak. You are promoting electromobility, and what do you see Poland needs to do in order to support the rollout of massive charging and managing the peak power?
Yeah, I think, of course, charging infrastructure, fast charging infrastructure will be challenging in some areas of Poland. But one interesting thing, we ask Polish drivers what's the biggest obstacle to buy electric vehicles. And of course, they said range anxiety and time of charging. It's simply too long to wait for having our car charged. But then we ask drivers of electric vehicles, so people who have experience in this, and they are really happy with their electric vehicles. So they talk to us, we drive 20, 30 kilometers per day, so we can charge our car once a week in our garage, and so that's enough. Driver in Poland, statistically speaking, goes to another city 5 or 6 times per year. So I believe we need to build fast charging infrastructure along main corridors, but we would like to encourage people to charge at night. It also has very important implication from environmental point of view. As you probably know, a significant part of energy in Poland is produced from coal. So we would like to encourage people to charge at night. Why? As we have too much energy in the energy system at night. So from CO2 perspective, it's much better to charge your car at night and not to emit CO2 during the day. So I think we need to try to encourage people to concentrate their needs on charging at home.
So if you look a little bit forward and you see this transformation, 2025 in this industry, who will be the winners? I start with you, Piotr.
I hope some startups will be the winner. If you look at numbers, now in Europe we have 300,000 sales of new electric vehicles. I believe in 10, 15 years we will have 5-6 million. So for sure, a part of this market, significant part, will be taken by traditional producers. But for sure, there will be newcomers who will make use of this great opportunity.
The level of entrance to electrical vehicles is lower, right?
It's lower.
Yes.
Much lower, especially in terms of car.
Yeah.
Producing electric vehicles is quite similar to producing traditional cars, but product development is much less complex.
Yeah, yeah. I learned from Siemens, for example, that they've sold, I think, like 12,000 electrical powertrains to other bus makers than the conventional OEMs that have bought kind of the chassis or the base structure from companies like Volvo, but then there's smaller companies building electrified solutions.
Yeah,
is that a model you believe in, or do you want to take control of that market?
Of course, we are building our own drivelines, as you know, and we are certain that will be a competitive advantage in the long run, and we know the business. But I think the real winners will actually be the cities of Europe in 2025. I think the citizens and the cities of Europe with drastically improved local air quality, lower noise, and we will hopefully by that winning team also have, I'll be happy to be the runner-up actually if they are the winners, and the blue chips and the startups can be there in third place as well. I don't mind.
Erez, who's the winner?
I actually wanted to just comment on one thing with fast charging, which I agree completely, and the only thing is that when you want to charge overnight, you have to bear in mind that most of the world does not own a house or a garage. So it might be the case for Poland, but most of the world cannot charge at home during night. So definitely there are going to be some challenges, but it will be solved, and you need public infrastructure for sure for charging.
Erez,
Yes.
I have a very quick
Yes.
last question for all of you. I did a little research yesterday, and I learned that the Polish vehicle market, the passenger car, is roughly 500,000 new sales, but also almost 800,000 to 900,000 imports from Europe. So 1.3, 1.4 million vehicles coming into Poland every year. 2025, how many do you think are electric?
2025, probably 40%.
40%? Anders?
50%.
50%? Piotr?
In 25, I'm much less pessimistic. I think 20%.
20%. Thank you. I think we end up with that and give the
Thank you.
panel an applause.
Thank you very much.